Hey everyone, how y'all doing today? Hope everyone is doing good. Real quick, I just wanted to do a brief talk about grief and what it means to me and what it may mean to others who are experiencing it. One of the first things that I've come to realize about grief is that for as many different people that God has created, that's how many different expressions of grief there are. And there's really actually a whole lot more than that because one individual person can have many different versions of grief that they deal with. That's just speaking from my own personal experience. And mainly I'm talking about the grief of losing loved ones, family members, and friends. But for me, mostly so far, it's been family members. For those who may not know, so far I've lost both of my parents, two older brothers, and two older sisters. And each one of those processes has been very different for me, basically just based on the relationship that I had with each of them and also the circumstances of their passing. The first one for me was back in 2000, and that was my father. That was my first immediate family member that I had ever lost. In his case, we were dealing with cancer, so we were dealing with the sickness. And for me, we kind of knew that inevitably the end was coming. So, in a way, I did get to actually brace for it and prepare for it as much as I thought I could at the time. But still, it was hard. The next one after that was my older sister, and hers was just shock because she was here one day and gone the next. And that was hard also, but then you had the factor that played into that. And then I had a brother who had to have surgery. So that was concern when we found out about that, but he had the surgery. And as far as we knew, the surgery was a success and he seemed to be recovering, as he was supposed to. So that was relief and happiness on my part. And then he had an episode of cardiac arrest and went into a coma that we were informed that he might not come out of or that he might be in for years and years and years. So that was just a whole different experience there. And he did end up passing away. And, that was just a whole different factor in what happened with him. And so each of those, including the other two, they were just different based on the circumstances. The last one was back in 2019 when my mom passed. And for those who don't know about her, she was 90 when she passed. But for the last few months, from November of 2018 until April of 2019, we had her on home hospice. And that, I have to say, was the hardest, most difficult period of my life so far. But at the same time, I wouldn't trade it for anything because from the time she was released from the hospital on November the 14th until the day she passed on April the 2nd, it was her and I at home every night from probably, I would say, 9:30 at night until 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning when I would get up to go to work and my brother would come relieve me. So, most of the time, they were good, restful nights, or she was peaceful and calm and all that. There were other nights that weren't that way, but, the good nights outnumbered the bad. But, that was a chance for her and I to really just kind of have a lot of different conversations about different things in life and, really just get to say our goodbyes in a personal way. But another thing I've learned is that, even though my brother and sister and I each lost the same parent and the same siblings, our grief is different, basically because of the situations we may have been in or the relationships that we had with those that we lost. And, so grief is very personal. It's you don't know how you're going to handle it until you have to handle it. And then for me, the process over time has been less intense, but it never actually goes away. And then also another thing I found out is that for each loss that I have had, also reiterates the loss that came before. So like I said, my father was the first loss that I experienced back in 2000. And then the next one was in 2003 when I lost my sister. So I dealt with that, plus remembering what I had felt for my father. And so when my next sibling passed in '09, it was that fresh one for her, plus the '03, plus the 2000, and just on and on. So when my mom passed in 2019, that was a fresh one, plus remembering my two brothers that passed in 2010, and then remembering my sister from '09 and my other sister from '03, and then my father from 2000. And so, it's just an ongoing process. Another thing that I figured out is, in situations like that, your faith has two things it can either do. It can either grow or shrink. And God has blessed me that my faith has grown. So even though it's hard, I know that I can deal with it. It's something that is a struggle more sometimes than other times. But, I've made it thus far. And so I'm trusting in God that I'll keep going. Then another thing that works for me is I am not graveyard person. I haven't been to the cemetery since my mom passed. When my father first passed and when my sister first passed, I did used to go to visit the cemeteries and visit their graves and all of that, but it never was any comfort to me. Actually, I used to always feel worse than I did when I actually went. And mainly I was going because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. That's what I've always heard that people did, but it didn't work for me, so I quit doing it. But what I did do is I know in my heart that they're with me, so I can talk to them anytime and feel comfort in their spirit being with me at any time without actually have to go to a specific place. But I did decide to have a place that worked for me. And so for those who haven't seen, this is my place of comfort for those that I've lost. What you see here is something that I got from my nephew, and basically for me that represents the family tree with the roots and the branches at the top. This candle here is representative of my mom, and these are all candles that I just kind of created for myself. This one here represents my father. His name was Willie, but everybody called him Bill. And I should have put Daddy on here too, and I am going to do that one day. But for now, we called him Bill, so that's where I'm going to leave that. And then this represents my sister Maddie. This represents my brother Garland, right there. This represents my sister Terry. And this represents my other brother Larry. So this is basically where I come when I just want to have a deeper connection to those who have gone on. And it works way better for me than going out to the grave. So basically that's it. I just wanted to share what was on my heart today. So anybody out there that's dealing with grief, just know, yeah, it's hard, but if you have faith, you can make it. And you just have to find your own ways and things that work for you. Don't let anybody tell you how to feel, how long to feel it, and what you should do, because if they're saying that kind of stuff to you, they haven't been through it yet. They'll learn when they go through. So anyway, have a wonderful and blessed day. Talk to you later. Bye.